Hello there, my name is Chang. I'm always climbing, and today I want to talk about how to master crimps by just climbing. Now, is there other ways to do it besides climbing? Yes, there is. But is it as specific as climbing? No, no, it is not. For example, if you want to master smaller crimps and you just only do hangboarding, while hangboarding is a very nice, safe way to build finger strength, which I do highly recommend, especially if you're newer to climbing, it is not as specific as building on the wall strength as actually climbing on the wall. For example, let's say you're into climbing and you've been doing it for quite a while now, and you have a specific project that you want to do. Let's say it has really small holes. You never train on small holes, but then for this one particular project, you start training on really small micro edges. Over time, you get more accustomed to those micro edges and you become more used to that style of holding those micro edges, making you better at that project. That is a form of specificity where you specifically train one thing. And if you really want to get good at just crimping, you need to really specifically train that. One more example. Normally people, we don't really train pockets, but if you're going to a place that's a lot of pockets, you're like, you know what, I should probably train pockets a little bit because I'm not too accustomed to it. And then you go ahead, you make your training for pockets very specific, just training pockets, and then you immediately get an automatic boost to your training in pockets because you're specifically just working pure pockets for the area you're going to that has a lot of pockets. This is rather important because when you're newer to climbing or you're not climbing that long, when it comes to most climbs out there in the world, there's always a mix and variety of holds on set climbs. So I might have one or two crimps, some fat pinches, and finish off on a sloper or something like that. That is not enough of a stimulus. You see, when it comes to training any part of your body, in this case the fingers, we have to understand that the fingers come in a couple angles. We have the open hand, half crimp, and full crimp. And then we have crimps, micro crimps, flat crimps, slopey edges, pinches, whatever type of grip you want to work, whatever type of grip, hand grip you want to work, you have to make sure that the climb you're climbing is filled with nothing but those. Now I say filled with nothing, but what I really mean is 90%, that is the grip that you're going to. Additionally, these grips that you're going to, we have to make sure that they're at an intensity that's just right for you. That intensity being somewhere around that 80 to 90% range. We really don't want to train at 100%, at least not all the time, because it's not very conducive for getting stronger or making growth. For example, here's how I like to view it, and it just makes a lot more sense this way, you ask me. There's a lot of people that pick shit up, put it back down, weightlifting, deadlifting, bench pressing, squatting. Normally when you're doing those activities, you train one specific movement. Let's say you want to get good at squatting, you're just squatting, and then you might do a couple of variations, accessories to help make your squat stronger, but the point is the main lift is squatting, one particular movement, the same thing over and over again. And then you're going to be training it at a certain percentage. That percentage, if you're trying to build strength, roughly in that 80 to 90% rep range. Eventually you do a 1 rep max, and then bada bing bada boom, over time you get a little bit stronger. We need to apply that exact same principle to climbing. It is a little bit more difficult because climbing is a little bit more nuanced, and there are a lot more footwork technicalities and a lot more hand positionings and body positioning that comes into play. But the closer we could turn on the wall climbing into an off the wall style of training, the more it is better for training. But since we're still on the wall, it's also very applicable for on the wall as well. So we're trying to really combine this off the wall training with on the wall training and try to make it as variable-less as possible, if that makes sense. And now the solution to do that is actually very simple. It's called make up your own climbs. Today I went climbing on the TB2, and I'm trying to work on my full crimp power on both hands, obviously. And therefore I decided to make a whole bunch of climbs. I call them crimp walker. Go ahead and try them. Tell me what you think. I made a couple of them, 10 of them actually, from grade ranges of V3 all the way up to about V8, give or take. Now, the reason why I made these climbs was just I wanted a climb, or climbs with an S, that would train my crimp, specifically just my full crimp. I wanted all the moves to be kind of difficult, but not so difficult that I would spend the whole session just working one entire move. Because when we're training, we want to have a stimulus that's about 80 to 90%. So we want it to be something that we could constantly do. You need to be on the wall for a large amount of time in that specific hand position to actually get used to it. You can't just hold on to it, crank really hard for half a second, and hope to get used to it. No, while having that top end strength is very nice, and it is important, it's more that lower end strength. It's that actually being able to climb on the wall for 30 to 60 seconds while being in the grip type that you want to train. And since I made a total of 10 climbs, I'm able to go ahead and do that exact same thing. So my grip is the same, but my body position is just a little bit more nuanced. And additionally, the more I climb on these specific wooden holes or the plastic holes or whatever holes I choose, that forces me to actually try to be active to use that full crimp position, the better I will become at actually doing that full crimp. And so you want to go ahead and try these climbs that I made for the TB2 mirror layout. They are on 40 degrees. It starts with crimp walker, and then I just put a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As for the results that you can expect from doing this type of very specific training, first off, there is the initial fatigue result. If you're training a grip that you're not really accustomed to and you're just forcing it over and over and over again, you will notice that your hands or your wrists or some part of the feature of your longer limbs, extremities, you're gonna be like, oh wow, that's interesting. I haven't ever really felt that before. Like for me, when I do nothing but fold crimps, my fingers, oh my god, do they really start to feel it. Whereas if I open hand or I drag, doesn't really feel it that much. Now I say feel it, but not in a bad way. In a way that I was like, oh wow, that is a new stimulus that I haven't given myself the opportunity to do way back when I was newer to climbing, because I just kept convincing myself I can't fold crimp. However, had I taken the time and I had made climbs specifically for me, even if the climbs were really easy, because they have to be easy if you're new to the grip, and with all the holes kind of close to your face and body so that you can actually do each individual move and spend about 30 to 60 seconds on the wall to actually build up that volume of work to actually give your hands the proper stimulus to start to grow, get accustomed, and get stronger at it. By doing it this way, I have actually noticed that my finger strength, or not even necessarily my finger strength, but my finger comfortability, I'm so much more comfortable in the full crimp now. I know this happened a little bit maybe too quick, but last session I tried to do I was actually working on my full crimp on my left hand. I'm very odd in the wear sense that my right hand I could full crimp very comfortably, whereas my left, it's not very natural for me to full crimp on the left hand. But I was like, okay, it can't be that different. I have two more or less the same hands. And last session, I tried to do full crimping on the left hand, which felt really bad and really awful. But I just kept working one particular move over and over again, getting comfortable in that full crimp. And in this session, this time, when I full crimp off the left hand, it feels a whole lot better. And that just comes from literally just putting your hand in a position that you don't think feels the best, just trusting it to stay on and squeezing and trying very hard, and then making small moves to other holds, small moves to the next hold, small moves to the next hold. You repeat that enough time, you build the confidence that, hey, wow, I can hold this position, bam, latch. Wow, I can move off it, wow, bam, latch. And then when you actually kind of like stop this specific training and you go to more your normal style of training where the holds are a little bit more mixed up and you encounter crimp, you're able to go ahead, just lock it in and then move on. This style of training your crimp will work with literally any style of climbing. If it's underclanes, set up a problem that has like 10 underclanes. Just go from underclane to underclane to underclane. You're going to get really good at underclanes. There's no way that you don't get good at underclanes. If you want to get good compressions, man, just set up climbs that you're constantly climbing like this. Ooga, 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 ooga. Very simple. Or pinches. If you just want to get pinches, just make sure every single hold on the climb is a legitimate pinch. The more time you spend holding a hold you're not comfortable with, the more time you become more comfortable with your fit. You'll start to build a bit of strength towards it too. Again, specificity. I don't think I said that right. Anyways, that was it, man. Again, try my problems. I took a lot of time to make them, mostly for me, but also for you guys to try it with and tell me your opinions. Now you know.